on the season, going for 5 in a row here today.
Remember, guys, Darren Law last year set a new track record here in qualifying. He likes this Homestead circuit. So does Max Angelelli. And for Scott Pruitt, he looks to the inside. Remember, the 10 car seemed to be the only one that Timmy Keene was really worried about in the closing laps of the Rolex 24. And right now, they're certainly worried about the 10 car, worried about how Scott Pruitt can get around it.
Two very experienced drivers right there. You saw him go into the brake zone. Pruitt trying to get to the inside. Max wouldn't have it. Then Pruitt went to the outside, hoping that Max would jump on the throttle, spin the tires up. Max instead drove all the way to the outside of the racetrack, so he didn't spin the tires up.
That brake zone is really, I think, the only weak part of the racetrack for Angelelli in terms of where he will need to defend, because he certainly has the speed around the banking to clear Pruitt here and create a cushion through these first series of corners. Of course, traffic, that comes into play, different story, but I think that final brake zone before they get up onto the banking, Dorsey, is where he needs to defend.
I agree. 15 minutes to go in a race would normally not be that big a deal, but when your tires are going away, 15 minutes is an eternity to hang on.
Pruitt's close again. Look at him. He has got the grip. He's got his car working here. Will he try and surprise Max into one of these braking zones elsewhere around the infield?
Remember the two big questions at the top of the show. Who is going to manage their program the best, their race the best, to be there at the end? And who can stop the 0-1? Is it going to be the 10? Will it be Max Angelelli and Ricky Taylor?
This is where it'll happen when it does. It's going to happen in this brake zone like you talked about, Calvin. But not this lap, because the 49 Maz is going to be in the way.
The reason Pruitt can set him up coming into that brake zone is that right-hand king as these tires start to go away. That is an awfully important corner, because if you have to backpedal or throttle through there, you're losing exit speed, and that means the guy behind you is coming.
Chevy power, BMW power, Porsche power. 3 different engine manufacturers in the top 3. And don't discount Darren Law, that man right there.
He's running a little bit faster lap time than the other two, but it's only because the other two are messing with one another.
1-2, he's really strong in the infield.
Simon Hodgson, team manager for SunTrust Racing. He said to him a little earlier, you may have picked it up, don't leave the door open, Max.
Absolutely don't leave the door open. Pruitt's better here. But Max gets the run up the straightaway, and on the banking, he definitely gets a better run than does Scott. So
you have to be smart here. Pruitt's a little bit closer. He is definitely closer here on the run down into this brake zone. Will he surprise him? Will he be patient? 13.5 minutes on the board.
Darren Law can take 2 car lengths away. He'll be in this mess too.
When it comes to the traffic, it's like a chess game. You've got to be thinking ahead. Where do I need to position my race car so that the guy behind me cannot take advantage?
13.5 minutes left. Pruitt thinks and then says no. Not this time. He can see that GT traffic up ahead, and all the while, car 5, the Action Express Porsche Riley of Darren Law, gets even closer. Maybe another car length or 2. This soon could become a 3-car fight.
The trick for Max is he can't get held up on that launch onto this banking, because that's his strong point. Right now, the 10 car has the legs on the straightaway.
Law's trying to negotiate that traffic. Pruitt does so very effectively. In GT, it's still the same. We haven't missed a thing. Orwell, Siegel, Stanton, Bomarito, and Gouet, the top 5. We'll be back. The marketing one of the marketing campaigns and logos and slogans for SunTrust Bank is solid is lightning fast. Angelelli has been solid. He's been lightning fast. But can he be super defensive where he needs to be and hold Scott Pruitt off?
Pruitt is definitely faster through this infield section, and he's not close enough when they hit the infield section to be right there through turn 1 and 2. But from this moment on, Angelelli is in defensive mode.
Absolutely. Max is doing everything he can to be tidy with that car, not to move the back end of the car around too much, but you can see he's treading on thin ice right now.
Pruitt hasn't looked here yet. Will he surprise him? That's the question. Now he looks to the inside, not close enough.
Will it be history repeating itself? Because in that very right-hander, Cal, back in 07, a BMW-powered Riley at the hands of Bill Orblett put a move on Max Angelelli right at the end of the race to get victory and steal it away from the Italian.
Watch Pruitt. He's going to try it. That's going to be his place, there's no doubt.
As
but
Max has
it.
to tighten up this corner, that's going to be the key. Can Pruitt get on the power a little bit earlier, but then the 10's car advantage through the banking section. Is it drag? Is it power?
You see Max drive it all the way out there on the curbing so he doesn't slip the tire. And he gets that advantage right here, but it's not as big as it used to be.
24 laps into this stint with the 10 car. We saw it start to struggle at about lap 28 to 30. And we've got just under 8 minutes on the board. It's going to be close.
There's the GT leader, the BMW right there, getting passed by the leaders overall.
Anxious times for Wayne Taylor's SunTrust Racing. Can they hang on and add to their victory of last year at Lime Rock Park, build the victory log for this Dallara? Now a Chevy-powered Dallara in 2011.
Oh, now he's starting to slide a little bit. I think I just saw the 10 car start to slip a little bit.
You know, and
coming off that corner, and it's like a light switch. Once it starts to go, there's nothing you can do about it.
And if he goes defensive, he's going to hold up to 0-1, and then Darren Law is going to be right there because they're slowing themselves down now on purpose.
I think that call from Simon Hodgson, the team manager for Max Angelelli, was 5 to go. 5 to go, meaning 5 laps after this.
Yeah, you can see the 10 car is starting to twitch a little bit more. Pruitt's car still looks solid. Will that be enough? He looks to the inside.
Yeah,
Angelelli defends. Pruitt to the lead.
Got him, and Max gave him plenty of room too. He didn't fight it too hard. He knew it got to a point where he couldn't fight it. What about the climb off this corner? Can he go with the 0-1?
It's the only hope he's got, but I think it's over with. I think, like you said, Calvin, once you see it start to go, but once it goes, it just drops off a cliff.
4 back.
And that right-hander on the infield is the key.
There
you see it again. There you
was.
see it again. Right in the same window. This will be the 26th lap, and it just starts to fall off that little bit, and that's all it takes.
We saw two stints with Ricky Taylor do exactly the same thing. Once you get that little death wiggle in the middle of the banking, it's over with.
Max was doing everything perfectly, Lee.
Yep.
But Pruitt was there to take advantage. Soon as he saw that little opportunity, he seized the chance.
Now Angelelli's got to keep a watchful eye on Darren Law because that 5 Action Express Porsche is strong, has been strong with less than 6 minutes to go.
If it follows suit, Max won't have anything to do with it. It would be just holding on for dear life as that car degrades the rear end so far.
It's amazing. You could see it just a few corners earlier. Suddenly it started to slip and slide a little bit.
And once you see that twitch on the banking, I mean, that's history then. You got to lift. You know, if you get broke loose on the bank.
Oh, Darren really deep on the brakes there.
Watch him
Started to
now.
twitch around. I think Angelelli caught him out a little bit in how much he was rolling it down for that corner, and Darren had to really use the brake pedal hard to not ram him.
Watch the 10 car up here in NASCAR turn 4. If it gets that little twitch, he's going to have to lift. Looked like it did a little twitch.
A little bit right there.
You don't lift all the way out of the throttle, but you got to neutralize.
4 laps to go. 4 laps to go.
Sense the different sound in Simon Hodgson's voice there as he relates that message to Max Angelelli. Just not the fire in it any longer now the lead is gone.
But Max did everything right.
He did.
I mean, didn't do it, you know, he was doing everything in the proper way to keep the car alive.
It's a great stint. They caught a little bit of a break with the timing of that caution. But nonetheless, superb performance by the team. Good job by Ricky Taylor. He had an awfully tough first stint there on well-used rubber, which he started the race on to keep it together. Kept it out of the wall there. That was a close one, but nonetheless, the 0-1 back out front. We've seen them there so often over the last 15 months.
It's not over yet, this fight for second. Keep an eye on the 5 of Darren Law. They finished 9th at the Rolex 24 at Daytona, and that was an unsatisfactory result. They wanted more. They felt as though they could have been on the podium, maybe vying for victory there. It wasn't the case, but this will be a real morale-boosting result if Darren Law and David Donahue can stand on the podium here at a track where they've both achieved success.
Max, is either going to be 3 more laps or 4 more laps.
We're hearing a lot of radio transmission and communication. And speaking of that topic, boys, let's go back an hour or more to when there was that penalty handed down to Memo Rojas, and Timmy Keane said, hey, let's take our medicine. This can play into our hands. We can still win from here. And there it is. The 0-1 is in the box seat.
I think he was right. He knew.
There
Oh, look at this. Darren Law to the inside of Angelelli. Takes the second spot away.
That was
what a
inevitable.
move.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Nice job.
You saw it back there in the middle of turn 4 again where Max wiggled one more time. I don't know how far, I don't know how bad Darren's tires are, but I can tell you they're better than the 10.
Show you this move, how it looked on board the 10. This is what it looks like if you're Max Angelelli. Look to the left.
Ooh. And a little rub there just for fair measure.
Yeah, these tires have ripped the heart out of Max Angelelli because he was fired up for his first win of the championship season, but he's going to be looking at a podium. This car is looking strong though, Dorsey. The 94 car Aublin's been in there for an awfully long time.
Yeah,
we hear it may have some gearbox issues, so It
Not
isn't
to
over
say-
yet. We're just under 3 minutes to go.
Oberlin's tires have more miles than anybody else too, but he really knows these BMWs and the balances quite well. The gearbox problem, they just told him to start taking it easy. He's got a pretty good lead.
They had a gearbox problem in the Rolex 24. They identified what it is. They don't know how to rectify it so it doesn't happen again. And it's two great comeback drives. A great comeback after the Rolex 24 for Turner, a great comeback drive for the 69, and also a thrilling drive here for Craig Stanton and John Potter in the 44 Magnus Racing Porsche. Three different cars in the top three in GT. And there'll be some delighted people if positions stay as is. 2 minutes to go. 70 of Jonathan Bomarito in a much cleaner and happier looking car than it was at the Rolex 24.
Hey, you can tell what it is this time.
Speed Source looking good here today, running second and fourth. Jeff Siegel, a great run in recovery mode, trying to dig themselves out of a hole like they did last year at a disastrous Daytona 24-hour race, but went on to win the championship. So they know these opening rounds are so critical to lay the foundation down for a championship run.
Comments earlier in the weekend from both Pruitt and his co-driver, championship-winning co-driver Memo Rojas, says it's very challenging here. Even though it's dry, it feels like we're driving in the wet. Maybe even a little bit more unpredictable than driving in the wet. Well, they have handled the conditions superbly.
Going to go one extra lap there. Didn't see the white flag, Dorsey, so on the time there, weren't quite into the point where they were going to hit the mark. And suffice the 2 hour 45 minutes by giving him the white flag there, so it was a little bit too close to call. They'd do one extra lap.
Behind Max Angelelli, things have really dropped off for the 61 of Bert Frizzell. They're just going to limp at home. They're 10 seconds adrift of Angelelli, so they're not a threat for that podium in these closing laps. 3 seconds further back is the sister car to this one, the 9 of Joao Barbosa for Action Express. Then Michael Valiente has dropped several positions to 6th for United Autosports and Mike Shank Racing. Enzo Potolicchio has done well for Starworks in 7th. Alex Gurney, who brushed the wall, we understand, a few laps ago, in 8th. And then Oz Negri is in 9th. The best GT car we know is Bill Auberlen in the Turner Motorsport. BMW M3 is in the top 10 overall.
The Action Express boys will be awfully happy with this result. You know, they've done a really good job this weekend for that car.
They've always been
Both
strong
cars.
here, but we always laid it at the hands of the 6-cylinder Porsche power. Now they're running the 8-cylinder. It doesn't have the same advantage on this Roval type configuration. So I think this result is down to the team really having a good setup underneath the car again, and I think it bodes well for these teams to have a good, strong season and not be in the dire straits that they were last year.
1 to go. It's been a big week for the guy on the right there, Memo Rojas, who was involved in a lot of media and publicity for this event, particularly with the Latin American population here in Miami and also the audience in South America. I said, hey, did you enjoy that media tour? He said, yeah, I got to meet the Telemundo girls. So he was looking forward to the weekend. It's been a very busy time as well. Good comeback drive for these boys. They'll be delighted. Donahue and Law.
Yep.
That's some sweetener after the Rolex 24.
Max hanging tough, man. It's going to get his 3rd place out of it.
But they'll be happy with this. They know this is not a strong suit for their race car and their setup here at Homestead. So I think for the 10 car to come away with the podium, I think they've taken that coming into this weekend. But when you've had a taste of the lead, you certainly want more.
I mean, the handwriting was pretty much on the wall after the 2 first stints. They realized they had 30 laps. Now, they could have still won if it worked out that way, but unfortunately, this last green run has been too far.
Remember the slam, the chip slam, the Daytona 500, the Brickyard 400, the Indy 500, and the Rolex 24 at Daytona. That's what Chip Ganassi did, and Chip's boys do it again.
Great job, guys. Memo, great job, man. Great job.
Every year they have won here at Homestead. They've won the championship. Is that an ominous sign? 2008, 2010, and 2011 for the boys in the Telmex BMW Riley.
This one didn't come as easy as some, I'll tell you that. That was a pretty interesting race as it went through.
They had to manage it, and they did very well to recover from that penalty. Can Billy Auberlen hang on for Turner's first win of the season? They won last year with the M6. This would be the first one with the M3.
Huge off-season up there in Amesbury, Massachusetts for Will Turner's boys. And this is going to be a memorable one. When they won in the M6 at Mid-Ohio last year, that was special. This perhaps even more significant. Bill Auberlen and Paul Galliana enjoy victory lane. And there is team principal Will Turner, Joey Hand, all the guys there to enjoy the victory. It is a BMW sweep, DP and GT. We'll have all the interviews when we come back. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is presented on Speed by Rolex, a crown for every achievement. And brought to you in part by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Plenty of confidence at the Ganassi camp. The 20th win for Pruitt and Rojas, and Brian, 5 in a row. They know this feeling.
They do know this feeling. It's actually the 3rd victory for both drivers here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Celebrating on top of the car, we'll grab Memo Rojas real quick. Memo, man, to end up the way it did after the problems early on, pretty spectacular from 8th to 1st in 19 laps. And I know Timmy Keene trying to keep you calm in the car. How difficult was it behind the wheel?
I was tough. I was not very happy with the penalty. You know, I have to look at the replay, but I wasn't, I didn't agree completely with it. Car was good. We focused on working really hard on practice with all tires instead of trying to set the quickest lap on practice, and I think it paid off today.
Certainly did, and Scott Pruitt in the car at the end, standing there. And Scott, for you, you know, we talked about racing the track, but there at the end with Max Angelelli in front of you, it's like you sat and you waited and you waited and you watched and then you pounced. How difficult was it to keep that patience early on when you knew that you had the car to get by?
That's what we had to do. He just drove by us to go, you know, for the lead. So we just had to be patient. You know, the Ganassi guys did a great job today. Memo did a terrific job. Hi to my family at home. And, you know, just came back around. We talked about it before the start of the race. We really had to conserve tires. We had 4 good sets for the race. It all paid off.
And in 2008, Ganassi went 1-2 in the first 2 rounds. They ended up with the championship as well. To GT with Chris.
Well, Billy Auburn finally getting to celebrate with some of his crew down here. Billy, you laid down a monster lap in practice yesterday. You scared the competition, and the BMW was just perfect at Homestead.
That's what Turner Motorsport gives you every single weekend. The new M3 is awesome. My teammate, I owe everything to him, Paul Delano. Without him here, none of us would be here. So thank you so much. Thanks to the great tires. They lasted for us all day. It was the setup was the key. From the engineers, they came up with a great setup, not about speed, about longevity. That's what it was all about.
Heard you on the radio saying some transmission issues in the last about half an hour of this race. How scary was that?
It was scary. And there was smoke coming out, tranny fluid kept coming out, oil, and eventually the smoke stopped, and that's when it's bad. You know, we're now out of oil. Just had to make it to the end, and it did.
Oh, you get your first win in Rolex competition. You drove a perfect race. You've just got to be ecstatic.
You know what? It's an incredible feeling after last year's tough luck and my learning curve, so it's great to be here. And, well, what can I say? Bill did a heck of a job and gritted it out at the end. The team's been good, so really happy to be here finally.
Well, Turner Motorsports gets the first win in the new M3 on Billy Auburn's 100th Rolex start.
Wasn't that a great achievement for those boys, capping off a brilliant day for BMW here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's check in with the GT points, seeing as how we were talking to the GT guys. Craig Stanton and John Potter lead by 3. That's how important that podium finish was today for the boys in green. Stanton and Potter, well done to them. And then they've got the Mazda Brigade chasing away. Spencer Pumpelly and Steve Bertha, of course, with their Rolex 24 win. Let's switch it up to Daytona prototype points and a 14-point margin for Rojas and Pruitt over the Action Express boys. Also on that same point margin are the SunTrust guys as well. And then Darren Law, David Donahue, a very valuable result today, keeps them very much in the hunt, 16 points back. So we've got a lot to talk about as we look forward to the next event. Fortunately for the teams, there's a little bit of a break to repair damaged cars, maybe get in a little bit of testing, whatever they need to do. Barber Motorsports Park is up next. Dorse, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Ganassi guys are leading the way. They have led the way, but it looks to me like the field's closing up. I mean, there was some really good performances shown here, and we're going on to 2 racetracks back-to-back where handling is a major issue.
I think DL could have been a real fact here. I mean, that burst radiator really cost them a chance at a win because his car was strong. I think he could have given Pruitt a real run for his money here in the final few laps today.
And we saw some great battles, some terrific racing today, some good strategy, and guys just hanging in there. We're glad you could be with us to watch Sports Cars on Speed. Next up, it will be Barber Motorsports Park in early April. We'll see you then.